The Equitable Life Assurance Society presents This Is Your FBI. This is Your FBI, the official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Presented transcribed as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and the Equitable Society's representative in your community.
The Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes transcribed to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as the Saint.
We bring you now a day in the lives of Vic and Sade, radio's favorite home folks.
Don't touch that dial. Listen to... Yes, folks, it's another half hour of fun with Blondie and Dagwood, with Arthur Lake as Dagwood, Ann Rutherford as Blondie, and Hanley Stafford as Mr. Dithers. And now for our weekly visit with your neighbors, the Bumsteads of Shady Lane Avenue.
The House of Squibb presents the finest in motion picture entertainment, Academy Award. The House of Squibb, manufacturing chemist to the medical profession since 1858, bring you Academy Award. The pictures, the players, the techniques and skills which have won or been nominated for the coveted awards granted each year by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to each in his field for outstanding achievement.
Hoofbeats. Howdy, folks. The makers of Grape Nuts Flakes, America's most famous cereal in flake form, again bring you America's most famous cowboy, Buck Jones in Hoofbeats. All you boys and girls have seen Buck and his horse Silver in his thrilling, red-blooded moving pictures crammed with action and excitement. Well, that's the kind of a story this radio series is, too. And I hope you'll stick with us, because I know you're going to like it a lot.
It's time now for Mr. Keene, tracer of lost persons. Ladies and gentlemen, Anison and Colinos present Mr. Keene, tracer of lost persons, one of the most famous characters of American fiction and one of radio's most thrilling dramas. Tonight and every Thursday at the same time, the famous old investigator takes from his file and brings to us one of his most celebrated missing persons cases. Tonight's case is entitled The Case of the Man Who Invented Death.
From Hollywood, Lassie. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the world's most famous dog, Lassie, in person.
Presenting Dick Cole and his thrilling adventures at Farr Military Academy.
We'll always be near to Farr. We'll praise her wherever we are. We'll cheer her each day with a hip, hip, hooray. It's a rule, there's no school like Farr. We'll sing out our loyalty. We'll ring out with voices free. As we travel through life, we will follow our star. We'll always be near to Farr.
Attention, boys and girls. Today we bring you another eventful episode in the adventures of Dick Cole at Farr Military Academy. You've known Dick Cole, of course, for a long time because you've met him often in Blue Bolt magazine and Foremost Comics. And now you meet him every week at this same time over this same station on the air. In just a moment, you'll hear from Dick Cole himself. But first, here's a special message for all of you.
With action and suspense out of the Old West comes the most famous hero of them all, Hopalong Cassidy, starring William Boyd. The ring of the silver spurs heralds the most amazing man ever to ride the prairies of the early West, Hopalong Cassidy, the same Hoppy you cheer in motion pictures, and the same California you've laughed at a million times. Raw courage and quick shooting have built a legend around this famous hero. Hopalong is a name to be feared, respected, and admired, for this great cowboy rides the trails of adventure and excitement. William Boyd as Hopalong Cassidy, and Andy Clyde as California.
The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Laurel and Hardy Show. Laurel and Hardy have decided to embark upon new careers, and now they are working for Mr. Slater's poultry market. In this way, the boys are doing their bit to relieve the manpower shortage. That is, if you can consider Laurel and Hardy manpower.
Hello, hello, come on, let's go. It's time for Let's Pretend. The gang's all here and standing near is Uncle Bill, your friend. The story is exciting from start right to the end. So everyone come join the fun. Come on and let's pretend.
Yes, from New York City, it's radio's outstanding children's theater, Let's Pretend, created by Nyla Mack. General Mills, makers of Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions, and Cheerios, the oat cereal ready to eat, presents The Lone Ranger.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver! Let's go, big fellow! I'm Silver! Hi!
Tonight, we again present the famous Mr. Chameleon of Central Police Headquarters in his famous cases of crime and murder. Brought to you by the makers of genuine Bayer aspirin. Mr. Chameleon, as you know, is the famous and dreaded detective who frequently uses a disguise to track down a killer, a disguise which at all times is recognized by the audience. Tonight, we give you Mr. Chameleon in The Perfect Maid Murder Case.
Time now for the romance of Helen Trent. Once again, we bring you the romance of Helen Trent, who sets out to prove for herself what so many women long to prove, that because a woman is 35 or more, romance in life need not be over, that romance can live in life at 35 and after.
Across the rugged Indian Territory rides a tall young man on a mission of mercy, his medical bag strapped on one hip, his six-shooter on the other. This is Dr. Six-Gun. The National Broadcasting Company brings you another transcribed episode in the exciting adventure series, Dr. Six-Gun. Gray Matson, M.D., was the gun-toting frontier doctor who roamed the length and breadth of the old Indian Territory. Friend and physician to white and Indian alike, the symbol of justice and mercy in the lawless West of the 1870s, this legendary figure was known to all as Dr. Six-Gun.
Hi, fellas. This is Jill with your all-time jukebox. Welcome to the all-time jukebox, where the music goes round and round. The best of the best in recorded popular music. Once every week, we dig into the files and uncover some great records. Some a bit dusty, some quite a bit worn, but all of them are records that were great in their day and still are. You'll hear from Bing, Brother Bob, Glenn Miller, T.D., and several others. Everyone an all-timer.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends. This is your host of the Inner Sanctum, welcoming you to another half hour of mystery and terror, guaranteed to take 10 years off your life. Don't just stand there. Come on in. We've been fixing up the place, making it more homey. Yes, you see that beam over there with the rope hanging down? You just stand on the table, put your head through the noose, and, that's right. It's for the convenience of anyone who feels like hanging around after the broadcast.
Hi, gang. It's personal album time. And here, once more, ready to send a warm and musical greeting your way, is the ever easy on the eyes Eugenie Baird. Honey, as long as this is request time and sort of a memory session for the boys, how about setting the mood with something easy on the ears and easy on the heart, huh? How about Dreams?
Of men. The shadow knows.
Your Blue Coal dealer brings you the thrilling adventures of the Shadow. These weekly half-hour dramatizations are designed to prove to old and young alike that crime does not pay. The Shadow, mysterious character who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. The Shadow uses his hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so that they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the Shadow belongs. Today's story, The Plot That Failed.
Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. Our Miss Brooks teaches English at Madison High School, and although, like most of our teachers, she possesses a higher-than-average intelligence, she also possesses the higher-than-average curiosity of most of our women. Especially when it comes to weighing machines. There's nobody more concerned about the result than a female who has just deposited her penny in the slot.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I am what I am 'cause I am what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Wheatina's his diet. He asks you to try it with Popeye the Sailor Man.
Perry Mason, brought to you by Tide. T-I-D-E. Tide. Procter & Gamble's new Wash Day Miracle.
Perry Mason, the famous character created by Earl Stanley Gardner, dramatized by Irving Vendig. Perry Mason, defender of human rights, champion of all those who seek justice.
the sealed book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly, the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. Ah, the strange story of three people who ventured into a long-lost cavern, a cavern cursed by the ancient Aztecs. A tale called I'll Die Laughing.
Remember, a Hallmark card when you carry enough to send the very best. Tonight, from Hollywood, the makers of Hallmark cards bring you an unusual true story on the Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Ahoy there! Identify your vessel! We're the schooner Conquest! And there's adventure ahead!
Yes, mates. Aboard the schooner Conquest, there's mystery, action, thrills, excitement, and adventure!
Yes, there's adventure ahead aboard the schooner Conquest.
Have you invested in United States savings bonds this week?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, Howard Petrie, introducing Guest Star, one of a series of programs produced and transcribed in Hollywood and presented by this station and United States Savings Bonds as a public service. Our guest stars for this program, Jimmy Durante and Gary Moore. The Savings Bonds Orchestra, the singers, under the direction of Dennis Agay, open the show with California.
The incomparable Charlie Chan. The American Broadcasting Company presents the incomparable Charlie Chan, detective, philosopher, modern Chinese sage in a new and exciting series. Join the famous detective every day at this time, Monday through Friday, as he combines the wisdom of the East and the science of the West in a thrilling and dramatic chapter from the adventures of Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan humbly gives you greeting and extends warm welcome. Sage has said, nature sometimes reveals deepest truths in wildest jokes. Today, apparent joke revealed truth about murder.
Folks, have you ever dreamed of finding gold at the end of the rainbow? Or looking for hidden treasures marked on a tattered old map? Have you fancied yourself an adventurer hunting the lost treasures of the world hidden in desert sands or locked in treacherous mountain ledges? Well, sir, if you have, then you know exactly how exciting it can be. But before we get to digging too deep for buried treasures, let me just say this is Ken Maynard bringing you tales from the Diamond Cave. You know, folks, I'm sure enjoying these little visits we have together. The tack room here at the Diamond Cave Ranch has never before had such a wonderful lot of visitors. You see, there Tarzan's saying the same thing. He's inviting you to join us for another 15 minutes of story time.
From the tack room of Ken Maynard's Diamond K Ranch, we're bringing you stories of adventure, stories of circus life, fascinating transcribed tales of the Old West where cowboys still follow the cattle trails, stories of rodeos and parades, colorful legends of the Red Man, hidden gold, and buried treasure.
Now then, folks, if you'll just kind of relax in that big easy chair, I'll get on with my story.
Symphonette, a program of the world's most honored music, presented by the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service. We invite you to Symphonette, one of radio's most honored concert ensembles, under the direction of Michel Piastro. Now, here is your host, Mr. Frank Knight.
Opera, operetta, and musical comedy have at least one thing in common. They usually begin with an overture. And one of the most familiar and most frequently played of these is the one with which the Symphonette opens this afternoon's concert.
Rip Lawson, adventurer. Rip Lawson, adventurer. Rip Lawson, adventurer.
On land, the world over.
Europe, America, Africa, Asia.
At sea, the world over.
Arctic, Antarctic, Atlantic, Pacific.
In the air lanes of the world in the stratosphere we find
Rip Lawson, adventurer.
The Rocky Jordan Show.
I'm Rocky Jordan.
We take you now to Cairo and the Cafe Tambourine for a world of adventure with Rocky Jordan.
This fellow asked me to go for a ride with him out in the desert and pick up a couple of items. I figured I'd go along just for my health. The gun he held in my back was loaded.
The Cafe Tambourine, crowded with tourists, camel drivers, women, cheats, forgotten men down on their luck, the lonely and the lost. For this is Cairo, gateway to the ancient East, where modern adventure and intrigue unfold against a backdrop of antiquity. Tonight's Rocky Jordan story, The Big Heist.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Day.
Wells in your eyes, and the smell of your smile.
Dennis Day is brought to you by Colgate Dental Cream and Luster Cream Shampoo. Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair. The Dennis Day Show with Barbara Eiler, Bea Benaderet, Dink Trout, Charles Dant in the orchestra, and yours truly, Vern Smith, is written by Frank Galen and stars our popular young singer in A Day in the Life of Dennis Day.
This is Ronald Coleman, inviting you to radio's most dramatic half-hour, Favorite Story.
My name's Jeff Regan. I'm the Lion's Eye, his private eye. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, head of the International Detective Bureau. He doesn't care where the money comes from, just so long as it comes to him. He cashes in on trouble, and for him it pays off. For me, it's work.
Here's the kind of adventure you've been waiting to hear. Hard-boiled action and mystery with radio's most exciting private detective, Jeff Regan. So stand by for trouble and suspense in tonight's story of The Prodigal Daughter. And now, here's Jack Webb as Jeff Regan.
One Man's Family, brought to you by Tenderleaf Tea. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Tonight we present Chapter 13, Book 40, entitled The Last of 1941.
From Hollywood, California, the makers of Old Gold cigarettes present The Comedy Theater, the only radio program that brings you every week the greatest stars in the greatest comedies. Tonight, The Palm Beach Story, starring Claudette Colbert and Robert Young.
Wheat Checks, Rice Checks, and good hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol!
Listen to the waves. Listen to the bell. Listen to the weird circle.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, Frankenstein.
CBS presents Intrigue, tales of espionage, manhunt, and high adventure. Joseph Schildkraut stars in the dual role of Sir Everard Dominey and Baron Leopold von Roggenstein as Columbia presents The Great Impersonation.
The Shadow of Fu Manchu. Based on the stories by Sax Roma.
Good. That's what Campbell's soups are. Good. Campbell's Soups invite you to meet Corliss Archer, starring Janet Waldo. Here's Corliss Archer.
Hello, Mr. Sharbert.
Well, good evening, Corliss.
Oh, Mr. Sharbert, I know you're dying to talk about soup, but before you start, I thought I'd like just a minute to welcome you to the Archer family. Mom and Daddy and all the rest want to be in on this, too, on account of we all think you make sense.
From Hollywood, the Red Skelton program. Yes, it's the Red Skelton program with David Rose and his orchestra, the Four Knights, Verna Felton, Lorene Tuttle, Pat McGeehan, and yours truly, Rod O'Connor. Sunday is Mother's Day, and we all find ourselves with the problem of what we can do to show Mom, the gal, our best gal, or shall we say Mother, that we love her. Well, it is a problem. So let's see how Red Skelton, MGM's favorite comedian and Procter & Gamble's clown, handles the Mother Day situation.
Secret Agent K7 returns.
America's #1 adventurer, K7, former United States secret agent who operated in 22 countries, on land, on sea, and in the air, brings you another modern story of today.
Hello? Yes, this is the Falcon speaking. Once again, the National Broadcasting Company brings you the transcribed Adventures of the Falcon, starring Les Damon. The Adventures of the Falcon, dedicated to private investigators everywhere. Those hard-hitting detectives who, like Mike Waring, risk their lives to aid law enforcement agencies. So join him now when the Falcon solves the case of the Rolling Stone.
Destination Freedom. Destination Freedom, dramatizations of the great democratic heritage of the Negro people, is brought to you by station WMAQ as a part of the pageant of history and of America's own Destination Freedom.
His and Hers, starring Jim Backus and Virginia Field. It's a beautiful day in Laguna Beach, California. A fresh, soft breeze is blowing in off the ocean 2 blocks away and playing gently over the modest house of the Courtney family, His and Hers.
Strange Will. Featuring the distinguished probate lawyer, John Francis O'Connell. With an all-star cast. Original music by Desmond Tanner. Dead men's wills are often strange. We cannot attempt to understand them or try to find the answers. We can but tell the story.
Send our imaginations forward into time, into the years beyond 2000 A.D. What strange adventures, what exciting things will we find in the world of tomorrow? 2000 plus.
Philip Morris presents Hogan's Daughter, starring Shirley Booth. We live in an age of miracles, the age of communication. And in the neighborhood in Manhattan where the Hogans live, news travels fast.
Speeding from coast to coast, the Federal Express thunders through the night. Adventures, thrills, romance. Ride the rails with Ned Jordan, secret agent. Under guise of settling labor and accident claims for the Consolidated American Railroad, Ned Jordan secretly investigates the activities of foreign agents and other federal enemies. Missions known only to J.B. Medwick, president of the railroad. Government authorities act on the information gathered by Jordan, who steps quietly out of the picture.
Yes, it's My Son Jeep, the bright and warm-hearted adventures of the Allison family of Grove Falls. Transcribed by the National Broadcasting Company and starring Donald Cook as Doc, with young Martin Houston as irrepressible, unpredictable, 10-year-old Jeep Allison.
It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big 20s. When they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart.
You know it's good because it's Heinz. The H.J. Heinz Company, makers of 57 varieties of fine foods for 80 years, present the amusing transcribed adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring America's favorite young couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard. somebody's been shopping. There's a delivery truck stopped in front of the Nelson's house.
It's Texaco time with Fred Allen. Texaco dealers from coast to coast present the Texaco Star Theater, starring Fred Allen, with Frank Sinatra, America's new singing sensation, Hilo Jack and the Dame, Portland Hoffa, the Texaco Workshop Players, Al Goodman and his orchestra. And this is yours truly, Jimmy Wallington, reminding you that even though you drive slower these days, warm weather can make your car wear out faster, unless it's protected by proper care and lubrication. Make your car last. Tomorrow, take it to your neighborhood Texaco dealer for a Texaco Spring Tonic.
Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.